So, it's engine time. This is the engine as removed from the car. It looks like it's all there. I don't know how it's going to be like inside and whether or not these bolts and nuts and things will undo, but we'll find out soon. I'm not going to bother using any of this stuff. I just replace it with new. My plan is to... I have made an adapter plate here and attached it to this engine stand so I can very easily move this around. I'm going to pull the engine apart whilst it's on the engine stand and then ultimately remove it when I do the crankcase. No experience here for this sort of engine, but I will just systematically take each component off and place it over on my bench up there, and then slowly work through what needs to be replaced, what needs to be fixed, and hopefully I should be able to even get this running out of the vehicle to make sure that it's going to be all right before I put it in. So let's get to it. First thing I'm going to do, I think, is just take away spark plug leads, the distributor cap, coil lead. I mean, have a look at that. It's all right inside, but look at the rubbers. Wow, that's severely perished. And looks like someone's put a bit of radiator heater hose, I think, to put the cables through. Probably does the job, but that can all be replaced. Next thing I think I'll do is get some tools and remove all this carburetor piping, the air cleaner. We'll have a look at that. I'm not sure where the top of it is, but that doesn't look the best. So let's get some tools and do that bit. Not sure why there's a hose clamp there, but I think looking at manuals it's meant to have these sort of circlips on it rather than these hose clips, but anyway, we'll take that off for now. Yeah, have a look at that. That is terrible. Definitely new one of those. Might take the rocker cover off next and get that out of the way so I can get to the carby bolts. I think that looks okay. I'm not sure what the them to look like. All right. This should, in theory, just come out. Looks okay. Yeah, we should be able to get these two bolts out. Take the carburetor off. I just got to undo some fuel fittings. Wow, this fuel line is so stiff. It's obviously hardened up over time. Just getting the last bolt here, a nut I mean, off the carburetor so we can take it off. I removed the fuel line, had a little bit of an issue. The fuel line where it goes into the carburetor has pulled out, so I'll need to reattach that. And the spring that holds the return spring for the accelerator is all very brittle and it's broken off. So I'll be getting that replaced. Not sure what's going on with this gasket down here, if it's melted or if it's some sort of gasket glue. I'll find out in a minute. So far everything's coming off as it should. That's the carburetor. Looks like it's a Weber 26 IMB 6, I think it is. You know, you pull that apart and put a gasket kit in there. Not sure what that base plate's meant to look like, but it's all gummed up in that groove, so that can't be good. I'm not sure what's going on with that gasket either, whether it's melted on or looks a little bit ordinary. Might try and lift it out. Very brittle, it's actually crumbling away in my fingers. Looks like there's a couple of them in there. Wow. Looks like a love heart. There's another one. There's three. exactly sure how that all works yet, whether there's 3 in there for a reason or it's one gasket that's split into 3, but there they are there. Not exactly sure that. I'll have to consult the manual. Alright, so that's the carburetor off. I think now I'm going to start removing some of this tinware and hopefully expose all this area. I'll get some tools ready. So there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 8 or so of these little 11mm bolt and nut. It looks like that top should be able to come out. Not sure what this little one is, but I'll take that out as well. Super tight. Not exactly sure why that's there, but maybe an earthing wire. Alright, so I've taken them all out. Looks like it's, I don't know, got a piece missing there. That's where the air filter would go, I imagine. Anyway, I think that could still be used with a good cleanup. So I'll just show you inside here. Looks like there's the fan there. Looks like there's been some oil in there, so that's good. A couple of these bolts here were missing, that one and that one. That one was there. This is all part of the cooling of the engine. All seems to be there. Just needs a good cleanup. I've decided I've got to get this nut off here to get that dynamo off. But there's that tinware there, it's got to come off. This has got to come off. And I think what I'm going to do is take this exhaust off next. Looks like 2 bolts there, but they look very seized on. So I'm going to try and take it off here. And there and there. And this one's the same. So I'm going to try and take these ones here off. So wish me luck. these are coming out alright, these two. I'll try the ones on the other side here. There we go, that's off. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get these off, but I think I'll give them a good soak and maybe try in a few days. So I took this, what looks like some sort of heating shield off there. It looks like there's meant to be some other bits in there that are missing. I'll have to work out what's missing. I will now remove the fuel pump, and then I'll be able to get that cowling off and that generator. Well, that's finally come off, and that's where it was. And I've got to say, to anybody that wants to take that particular part off whilst the engine is in the car, it's not an easy task. If it was me, I would probably sacrifice and take the engine out. It would be so much easier. There are so many bolts you've got to try and get out that are so tricky that it would be very, very difficult while it's in the vehicle. Anyway, it's off now. Let's see what else got to come off. Thought I'd better take the oil out while it's on the engine stand. However, this was that tight, I had to almost hammer it off. So let's see what the engine oil is like, if there's any in it at all. Wow, that is black. At least it had oil in it. So this is what everybody online says to be wary of. So this is I've taken the fan belt pulley off the front, and behind here is the makeshift oil filter. So the idea is that as this spins around, all the gunk gets flung out to this edge here. So all this here, this needs to be all cleaned out, and it should be done on a regular basis, and it won't get to that stage. So that's not good. And then this was the plate that went on the front. This wasn't too bad. That's, from what I've seen online, that gets caked up too. So yeah, so that will need a really big clean out, and on a regular basis, so it does not get like that, because there is no oil filter. I've taken the fan belt crankcase pulley off. Goes there. Just remove the distributor. I'll now take all the tappets and try and take this head off. So I've taken the tappets off, and the head looks like there was 4 nuts there and 4 back here. I've taken them off, and now in theory this should lift off, and looks like I've got some push rod tubes there that may fall out, but I will get the camera set up and show you how that comes off and see what's inside. Ooh. Let's see if we can take this head off. I assume these push rod covers just push in here. Well, here we go. I'll try and see if I can leave them there. Here we go. Heads off. Just put this over it in case it drips a heap of oil. That's what the bottom looks like. Can't see any issues yet, but I need to pull all the valves out and check all that out. But that is now off. I have noticed here that someone's put the wrong bolts in here, so I need to rectify that. I'm pretty sure they need to have a hole in them. Anyway, good. Not sure whether you're meant to have rubbers or seals there, but doesn't appear to be any on this one. Oh no, that's got one. There you go. It looks like I'll be having to replace those. This one doesn't have one at all, which probably explains why you can get some oil leaks. All right, let's see what I've got to do next. Thought I'd take this cover off next. Series of 10mm bolts and 2 nuts there that are 17mm. Just realised I missed one down here. I'll get this one off. Timing chain. That's what it looks like. All right, I think I'll take this chain off. Looks like there's some tabs here on these. I think they're bolts. Yeah, got to move these tabs out of the way. And then undo them. Looks like they're a 10mm as well. Those little tabs are just a little bit in the way. Flatten them out. See if that makes a difference. Okay. Looks like there's one tab. 2 bolts. that's easy. Must be the camshaft. The little lifters rubs on the camshaft and the push rod goes up in there like that. Easy. All right, let's work out what's next. Might take the barrels off next, and then I'll flip the engine over and take the sump off, I think, and have a look underneath. These should, I'm not keeping these pistons or barrels, so I'm not really too fussed about what they're like. No major scores in there. Very black though, the top of the piston. All right, I think I'll flip it and take the sump off. All right, so I'm going to remove all these bolts and then take the sump off. All right, all the bolts are out. Let's see if it lifts off. So I've just noticed there's a few little metal pieces in there. Not sure where they're from yet, but there's some more on the pickup for the oil filter. I'll get the camera and give you a closer look, which is a bit concerning. So there's the pickup filter. You can see there little metal pieces. Not really sure about that yet, but a bit concerning. But that's what it looks like inside. Might take the pistons out next, so undo these. I'm not going to keep these pistons. So, with the broken ring, I would say those pieces are all the rings have broken off. So one would say that it wasn't in running order for long. there's the piston, and you can see the top ring there is broken, which a massive, oh no, I'm not sure, that's probably normal, that split. But yeah, running not very well looking at that. Let's take the other one out. There's the other one. Clumsy today. So that ring snapped off as well. Well, there you go. 2 top rings absolutely shattered. So I will need to take the crankshaft out and the camshaft, but I'll need to take the flywheel off first. So my next job is to take it off this engine stand, put on a bench, and undo the flywheel and take the rest of the components out. So I've taken the engine and the block off the engine stand because I need to remove the flywheel. So I've removed the 6 bolts that hold this down, so it can come off. And now this is the rear main bearing. So I'll loosen these and pop this off, see what it looks like. Okay, so the front, I've taken the bolts out of that. And interestingly enough, there was 2 that looked like that, like a Phillips head, and they go in there and there, which is a bit odd. I've taken the bolts off the back, so these should just pull out and pull out. That's the front one. And this was the rear one. And they both got a few little score marks in there, so probably end up getting new bearings, I'd say. Tip this up and see if I can get it out. And there it is, crankshaft out and the block completely empty, nothing in it. Now I'll do some cleaning, some measuring, and I'll work out the size of these bearings and look at the condition of the journals on the crankshaft, and then start working out the assembly. That wasn't too difficult at all.